As the US authorities crack down harshly on anti-genocide protests, many people around the world are making the same point. If this was happening in China or Iran or Russia, pretty much any nation not allied to the West, the protesters would be branded as brave heroes, deserving of the Nobel Prize. Here, have one each. But because the protests are against the American establishment, the opposite is happening. Many news reports are angled against the protesters. Look at this one from CNN. Today, destruction, violence and hate overtake college campuses across the country, with Jewish students feeling unsafe at their own schools. It is unacceptable and harking back to the 1930s in Europe. So, doing this to a university is, quote, unsafe. But doing this to every university in Gaza, well, that's absolutely fine. Have another 1,000 tons of bombs with love from your friends at the USA and CNN. This is, of course, insane. And it's not just CNN. Let's take a look at the New York Times. Now, we can compare a protest report in this week's New York Times with one on protests in 2019 in China. That year, professional agitators with massive budgets stirred up trouble in Hong Kong. New York Times editorial board told the world that allegations of foreign involvement were a shop-worn canard. Now, that's a phrase means it's a tired old lie. When it became undeniable that it wasn't a lie, it was actually very true indeed, New York Times did not issue a correction. Their staff just looked the other way. Now, when protests sweep across the United States, what do you read? Oh, guess what? New York Times points the finger at, look, there's a professional agitator. I know, I mean, it's just, what can one say? The New York Times hypocrisy level continues to be off the charts. I'm not against all journalists, I'm one myself, but I am against the false narrative that too many of us push. Often it's the case that ordinary people or citizen journalists are a better source of the truth. Here's another good example also from this week. The Financial Times published a story that Chinese women who married French people were part of a spy operation. The Economist's pro-war defense correspondent happily circulated that story. Then a Frenchman living in China, Arnaud Bertrand, debunked the tale with some crucial research. The FT had simply translated the allegation from a report published in French 5 years ago. The original author did say that there had been some Chinese-French marriages, but did not say the women were spies, nor have there been any arrests, which there certainly would have been had the women been spies. It's a nothing burger. There's absolutely nothing there, Bertrand concluded. What did the Economist writer do with this important new information? Did he share it with his paying readers like me? No, he blocked Arnaud Bertrand from his social media. You know, when you hear about freedom of the press or freedom of speech, remember, it's only freedom to push the Western narrative. Don't be fooled. Read widely. Think for yourself. Peace.